If you are thinking about venturing into the world of paid brand deals and you want to present yourself as a capable and professional influencer when you pitch yourself to brands that you want to work with, then you are going to want a media kit. Essentially, a media kit is just a document that has information about you, your demographics, your social platforms and your followings, your engagement rates, and then of course, your rates, your pricing for doing brand deals. Normally this would be in like a nicely designed PDF that you can send as an email attachment either when you are pitching a brand or when a brand has approached you about doing a brand deal. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the 5 essential components of any successful media kit and how you can create one for yourself. Plus, if you stick around to the end of the video, I'm actually going to pull up my own media kit, the actual document that I send to brands who want to work with me, and I'm going to show you my pricing and how you can set up a media kit that is going to help you actually land those paid brand deals for Instagram and YouTube. So let's get into it. By the way, welcome back to my channel. As you may or may not have noticed, I do kind of have different hair this time. That's right, I got bangs. I feel like it's a subtle change, but I'm liking it. And of course I had to throw on the red lipstick again because every time I make a video without red lipstick, I always have at least one person in the comments like, where's the red lipstick? We miss your red lips. So it's back. I don't know about any of you, but I'm certainly not wearing anything on my lips these days because it just gets all over the inside of my mask. So I'll put it on for my YouTube videos though. All right, anyway, you know I love a good list, so why don't we get into number 1? Number 1 is to write a short and sweet bio, letting the brand know who you are. It's important that the beginning of your media kit includes a nice little introduction that can give the brand that you're hoping to work with a little bit of information about you and your personality, who your audience is, and what kind of content you make. This can give the brand a sense of if you would align well with their brand ethos and their ideal customer. I'll read you the introduction from my media kit so you can get a sense of what it's like. Hey there, I'm Katie Steckley, a YouTube creator and social media marketing expert. My mission is to inspire growing creators by sharing my journey and my knowledge of social media marketing and creative entrepreneurship. I've been passionate about creativity my entire life. I started my YouTube channel at the tender and cringeworthy age of 12, and now I'm sharing all the lessons I've learned over that decade of failures, successes, and a whole lot of videos with my audience. This gives the brand a sense of who you are and probably more importantly, who your audience might be. All right, the second important component to a good media kit is your demographics. Sharing who your audience is and all the details that you can about them is going to be very important in convincing a brand to work with you. I think a lot of people who are brand new to the influencer marketing industry have this perception that brands work with influencers because of their high follower count or because they're so cool and trendy. And that's really like the consumer's point of view. If you think about it from a brand's perspective, the brand really cares about who is following that person because that is ultimately who they are trying to reach. So brands really are gonna care less about who the influencer actually is and more so about who their followers are. Now, of course, those two things are correlated, so they do come together. But you really want to make sure that the demographics and details about who your audience is front and center in your media kit because that's going to be a major deciding factor in the brand hiring you or not. Really, any brand is going to be asking themselves 2 questions when they take a look at your media kit and they're thinking about working with you. One is, who is this influencer's audience? Do we want to reach them? And 2, does this influencer's audience actually listen to them when they recommend products or services to them? And that's where your engagement comes in, but we'll talk about that in the next step. When it comes to describing your demographics in your media kit, it's important to go into as much detail as possible, and if you can, use statistics from your social platforms. So look at your Instagram insights, look at your YouTube analytics. Both of these platforms break down the location, age, gender of your audience. So for instance, in my media kit, I've written that my audience is primarily 18 to 34-year-old women, mostly based in the US. I've also added the detail that most of them are creators or creative entrepreneurs. Now, Obviously, the demographic information, that 18 to 34 women in the US thing, that comes from my YouTube insights and my Instagram insights that I've been able to see. That's actual data about the real people that watch my videos. And then that second piece about what are they passionate about? What are they interested in? That is what you are gonna know based on your personal experience, speaking with your audience, and also based on the kind of content that you make. All of my content is about social media marketing, entrepreneurship, and that kind of thing. So obviously the people that watch my videos are gonna be interested in that. So you can kind of infer some of that demographic detail based on your content and your experiences with your audience, but you also really wanna make sure that you are including real, true stats from, YouTube, Instagram, wherever you can find out the age and location of your people. Speaking of which, am I right about that? Are you an 18 to 34-year-old woman based in the US, most likely, that is interested in creative entrepreneurship or being a creator? Let me know in the comments, because I want to know how accurate my media kit is. Now, the next major thing that you need to include in your media kit is obviously your numbers. Brands are going to be interested in how big your following is on all the different platforms where you create content, but probably more importantly, they're going to be interested in how engaged that following is. I have a section neatly laid out in my media kit, which I'll show you in just a minute, that shows you how many subscribers I have, how many Instagram followers I have, and how big my email list is. I think a lot of creators get carried away and feel like they need to give every single stat about every single social media account they have, but really it's just important that you share the information about the accounts where you would realistically be making content for brands on. For instance, I have a Twitter account, but I never use it. I haven't opened the Twitter app in months because it was ruining my mental health. And I have like 700 followers there, so I'm obviously not going to be doing any sponsored tweets, so there's really no need for me to include any information about my Twitter in my media kit. Similarly, I have a podcast, and that podcast is actually doing pretty well and it continues to grow, but it's not quite at the point yet where I'm ready to start doing sponsored podcast episodes, so I haven't included any stats about my podcast in my media kit yet. So I would say pick your top platforms, the ones where you create content the most frequently, where you have the biggest following, and where you would actually be looking for sponsorships for, and include that information in your media kit. I would suggest including your followers and your average engagement rate, and then also how often you actually post there. Do you post on your Instagram once a week, 5 times a week? Have a little note about there so brands can get a sense of how active you are. Now, for the question that I get a lot from new creators, and probably what many of you are wondering, and that is, how do you figure out what your pricing should be? How do you establish rates for the different kinds of posts that you might make? Like, how do you decide what an Instagram post is worth or what a YouTube video is worth? Honestly, this is a really tough one, and it's something that I've struggled with myself over the years, trying to figure out exactly what I can charge people, what's a fair rate, what makes sense. Ultimately, at the end of the day, you have to decide what you think seems reasonable. And really, my personal philosophy is that you don't have to worry too much about being really competitive with this. Like, it's not really the same as pricing services the way I do for my social media marketing agency, for instance, where I have to know, like, okay, what are other people in my industry charging for this? What are the competitors' services like? It's not really like that with brand deals. And this is why, because I think that you really need to make sure that when you're doing a brand deal, it's something that you really do want to promote. You obviously think it's a good product, you genuinely suggest it, you would pay for it yourself. So you're already going to be kind of picky about who you're working with. And so I think you can also be kind of picky about what you charge. Like, you need to decide, what is it worth to me to mention a brand, to give up some of the attention space that I have with my followers to this brand? Like, what is that worth? Like, for example, if I say, look, I'm not gonna do a YouTube brand deal for less than $500, it doesn't matter if there's somebody else with more subscribers than me that will do it for less. I don't care. They can go work with them then. If a brand wants to work with me, then they have to pay my price, and you just have to be willing to give up a brand deal if the brand doesn't want to pay you what you're asking for. Will that potentially lead to me doing less brand deals by not negotiating my price with brands? Sure, yeah, it definitely will. Like, if I was willing to do a YouTube sponsorship for $50 US, which I get asked to do more often than you would think, sure, I could get a ton of brand deals, but that's not what it's about for me. I wanna make sure that the brand deals that I'm doing are brands that actually align with the content that I make, that I think would be useful for my audience, that I would genuinely use myself, and that value my time and value my audience's attention. So you can really charge whatever you feel is reasonable for your own time and for your audience's attention, but just know that depending on the price you choose, you might get more or less brand deals. But that's fine. I believe in choosing what it is worth to you and then taking the amount of business that comes your way based on that. Now, it's time to do as I promised at the beginning of this video and actually pull up my media kit here, and I'm gonna show you exactly what mine says so that you can see the numbers, the pricing, how I lay it all out. I'm gonna show you now. Also, before I dive into this, do you wanna just give this video a thumbs up if you're finding it helpful so far? I would really appreciate it. And comment below if there's been anything surprising or stuff that you didn't know about media kits before watching this video. I'd be curious to find out. So go like, comment, and then let's look at my media kit. By the way, I made this entirely in Pages, so it's pretty straightforward. It's not any kind of complex design. Pretty easy to do, if I do say so myself. The first page here is just my name in bold letters across the top, just confirms this is who I am. Hello. And there's a picture of me. I think this is good because it just helps with that brand recognition. It helps people confirm like, oh yeah, that's the girl I've seen on YouTube. This is whose information I'm looking for. Then I've got Media Kit 2020 because I update it every year. I actually update it once a month because, you know, my numbers are always changing and you want it to be as accurate as possible. I start off with my little introduction, which I read you earlier, and then I get into my demographics, talking about my audience right away. I have in big bold letters, speaking of my audience, ... because I know that's what brands care about. They want to know who my audience is. Then we get into the juicy stuff. We've got my pricing and all of my platforms and their stats. So let's just talk about my stats first, and then I'll go into how I decided my pricing. So obviously I've got the YouTube logo, and then I've got 80K subscribers. It's more than that now. I need to update it. The number of videos a week, how many views I tend to get on a video, and my average view duration. Then I've got my number of Instagram followers. Again, I need to update it. It's more than that now. And the average posts per week, my average engagement rate, how many story posts I do a day, how many story views I tend to get, and then also my email subscribers, which again, I need to update. It's more than that now. The number of emails I send my list a week, and then also what my average open rate is. Okay, so then next to that, and I have this on the same page pretty intentionally, so then people can kind of see exactly what they're paying for, right? I've got three main options for brands to choose from. The first is a brand integration on YouTube. This is my classic, like, thanks to Skillshare for sponsoring this video or whatever. Then I've got my Instagram feature. Now this includes 2 story slides plus a feed post. And then finally, I've got the whole package, which is a YouTube brand integration, an Instagram feature, plus a bonus email newsletter. And you'll notice in each of these descriptions, there's a little underlined section, and that is a link to a previous brand deal that I've done. Of course, I've chosen successful ones so that brands can click in and go watch a video I've done and seen how many views it got and the engagement, and also what the quality of my videos is like and what the brand integration actually looks like. Okay, and moving on to the final page, we have got a section which I'm going to talk about in just a minute, and then information on how to book with me at the bottom. So that is my pricing. For a YouTube brand integration, I charge $550. For a Instagram feature, I charge $250. And for the whole package, it's $750. And I currently have 85,000 subscribers, 15,000 Instagram followers, and an email list of 10,000. Do with that what you will. Like I said, pricing is very individual, and it really comes down to what you feel like it's worth it to you. And it really comes down to what you feel like it's worth to you, but there you go. That's my pricing. The fifth part of a successful media kit is a value proposition. I would suggest ending off your media kit with a really clear and punchy value proposition. Take this opportunity to really pitch yourself to the brand and tell them why your content specifically is valuable and why they should work with you. This is especially a good opportunity if you are a smaller creator like me, to give some information about the value that you're offering. If you don't have millions and millions of followers to offer, what can you offer? Maybe you can offer a really specific audience, or you can offer really high quality content. Think about what sets you apart and then include that in your conclusion. Okay, so I'm gonna read you mine. This is how I end off my media kit. I've got 2 sections. One is called The Power of YouTube, and the second is called The Difference a Professional Makes. Okay, so under The Power of YouTube, I wrote, YouTube video advertising is the investment that keeps on returning returning. While other forms of social media like Instagram and Twitter are quickly lost in the chaos of the newsfeed, YouTube videos live on the platform and continue drawing in viewers for months and years to come. Your dedicated video has the potential to continue to bring you new customers as my audience and the views on your video continue to grow more and more every day. So that is highlighting the fact that, yeah, my videos do not get 10,000 views the minute they're uploaded to YouTube. They don't. My audience isn't big enough for that. However, videos that I post today could have 500,000 views by next year. So you really can't judge the performance of a video by just its first week on YouTube, right? It's an evergreen platform. And then the second section about being a professional, I've written, I'm more than a YouTuber. As a professional social media marketer and video creator, I not only offer a passionate and dedicated audience, but also the skills and experience to create a high quality video for your brand. With my expertise, you can trust that your brand will be represented in a professional quality video. Additionally, if you're interested in expanding your package beyond a branded feature in my content, we can talk about creating content for your social platforms as well. And so that's just a shout out to the fact that I'm not just any online creator. I have a social media marketing agency. I have been a professional videographer for many years. So I offer a high quality product, and I'm also willing to create content for their platforms in addition to my own. So obviously yours is gonna probably look different than mine, but think about what sets you apart as a creator and then make sure you give a little pitch about that at the end, and don't be afraid to hype yourself up. You know, this is not the time for modesty. Be real about the value that you provide. All right, and that's a look at how to create your own media kit and what to include to actually get paid brand deals. If you want to keep learning about the world of influencer marketing and how you can start getting paid brand deals on your Instagram, then check out this video that I made. I think you will find it very helpful. Before you head over there, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of my future videos. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in this one. Okay, bye.